Okay, everybody, here we are. We're back for the next episode. I guess this will be part 5.5, something like that. Um, I was telling you before how we were going to go around the seams with the popsicle stick, with the latex and whatnot. I'll admit, I kind of, it seemed like it took forever for that last video to upload. So this already dried and it's still uploading. And I was like, man. So I went ahead and did a lot of my seams with the popsicle stick, and I really don't see after that one treatment that it's going to need much more, except for right here along the places in the mouth where I was describing that before. That around the ears and around the ball cap all looks nice and smooth. As a matter of fact, here it's all nice and smooth, virtually no edge. Especially after you get some paint on it, you'll never see any of that edge. Around the ears and all, looks pretty good. Other than that seam, but the paint will cover up the seam. Now the nose has got this crazy crevice in it I don't like right there, but I've tried to reshape it, but this is a demon clown. I mean, it's supposed to be a little askew and creepy looking. I mean, he's got warts only on one side of his head too. So, but anyway, so I'm gonna put more of the latex paste, so to speak, right there in the crevices along the mouth and all, and of course give it a good solid stipple down in this episode. So, without further ado, let's get busy on that. Now, for whatever reason, this side came out a lot better than the other one. I feel like this one only needs this will probably be the last time I feel like I need to adjust this seam along the jawline there. It's all nice and smooth and seems to be blending well. But as I said, we're going to give this whole thing another couple of stipple coats. So as we do that, needless to say, any potential issues will be completely gone. So, sorry if you feel like I left that part out, but I mean, I'm really wasn't doing much more than what you see me doing now. I was just spooned in the thicker latex, as I told you in a previous video. Call it cake icing. And no, I've never been a cake decorator, but I feel like I do pretty good. Alright, so I'm only using my finger to smooth out that edge, and I think that'll probably conclude everything I need to do there, or at least with the popsicle stick. Like I said, all the other edges are really pretty smooth. And so from here, we're going to go ahead and stipple on a coat, and then we're going to let that dry. After that dries, I'll probably come back and do another coat just like that. And of course, I'm going to film me stippling this coat, but just so that you see that you don't have to do the stippling all over the entire piece. But when I go to do the second coat, I'm not going to film that. Just know that I'm stippling 2 coats on from here. I'm going to let both of them dry between each coat completely, and when I come back, it'll be ready for paint, and we'll begin on that process. Now, I'll admit, I don't know how much I'm going to shoot of the airbrushing, the base coat, white. I don't know how much of that I'm really going to shoot, because let's face it, it's not a showcasing of any talent with the airbrush, because I'm just wide strokes putting a coat of white on this thing. I typically do my clown makeup by hand. It looks better. You get better, crisper lines than with an airbrush. I might do some like black detail work with the airbrush, but that's about it. And of course, I'll show that. But and then of course the hair work, as previously mentioned in other videos. But we're going to give this a quick stipple down, and then as soon as that dries, I'm going to come back and give it another stipple coat, as I said. Now, because we're giving the whole thing a good stipple down, that doesn't mean up over the face and all this other business. You want a good amount of latex on your sponge because you are wanting to stipple the whole mass down and seal up the whole thing. But as far as just going around the edges here on your face, just a little on this outside edge, and just quick stippling up around, which will help blend it in. There's no need to go back across the top of the head. There's no need to do the face or any of that business. But just this edge that I don't even know if you guys can see it on screen. I can see it. And just take that all the way down to where it meets up. Okay. Now, other than around the prosthetic, so to speak, there, and giving it a nice stipple down here, I am gonna stipple down over the ears good one more time because you want a decent coat on those. So I like to dab a little in it and then make sure that we're going around it this way to completely seal up the whole ear area where we've trimmed out the bald cap and all that. So, okay. And then we're just going to repeat the process over here. Same thing, just a little, and then need a little more. Okay, so we've gone around the ears, up and across the prosthetic, done a little bit across here. I'm gonna get right up in the neck, and we're going for the overall stipple coat now. So, just to make sure I'm not dripping, and feel free as you do the stipple coat to get all the way up to the edge of that prosthetic, because you're sealing the whole thing up. And not only that, but this particular type of sponge that I'm using, as I think I previously discussed, as you stipple it on, will leave a textured appearance, much like flesh. So that's why, again, I also say stipple it, because it'll actually put enough texture to it that it gives it a little more lifelike. The neck and collarbones is, I don't know, because it's a straight sponge, it leaves the little lines on it, which I find to be a little irritating. But I guess that's the reason why it's one of the hardest places to stipple. But once you've got that area done along the collarbones, it gets much, much easier. So, stipple. And as I said previously, feel free to bring it all the way down. You might not want your mask this long, but it's better to have more than you need, and you trim it to the length you need. I mean, you might wind up having a low-cut costume where the neckline shows some of the chest. So I'd rather do it longer than it needs to be. You trim it shorter if that's what you like. But either way, I find you get a better result with the longer bib on the front. It's a little harder to produce them as the 45-minute video of me trying to form this thing around the armature shows, but the point is that you still get I feel like a better mask overall. I have a little too much latex here on the front, so that's why you'll see me reaching around back there, because I'm transferring some of that latex excess from the front to other places that it may be needed on the back. Now, I don't know if you can see any bit of the texture at all. Maybe if I see some of the textures that sponge puts in it. And when that dries, it'll have a much more believable skin texture to it too, regardless of the fact that it's going to be painted solid white with added